Confidence intervals for discrete valued hypothesis. What we mean by confidence interval? A confidence interval is a range of values that is likely to contain an unknown population parameter. This means that we have a range of values which we call as confidence interval, and this range of values will have some unknown population parameter. If you draw a random sample many times, a certain percentage of the confidence intervals will contain the population mean. Suppose that we have many samples and we have picked some random samples. Then a certain percentage of confidence interval will be present in these samples of the population mean. This percentage, what we got, is the confidence level. In confidence interval, we give an answer to the question: how good an estimate of error of the distribution of the hypothesis is provided by the error of the sample of the hypothesis for the case in which H is a discrete valued hypothesis. This means that we are having a hypothesis which are limited. We don't have hypothesis for the entire distribution, but we have hypothesis for the samples. Now, will this error of the samples will represent the error of the entire distribution? This is the question. Suppose that we wish to calculate the true error for some discrete valued hypothesis H based on its observed sample error over the sample S. Suppose that the sample S contains n number of examples which are drawn independent of each other, means which are drawn randomly and which are independent of the hypothesis H. Then according to the probability distribution capital D, we will get the error by the ratio R divided by N, where R will represent the number of errors and N will be representing the number of examples. Number of examples here we have considered it is 30 or above. Under these conditions, statistical theory allows us to make the statements that given no other information, the most probable value of the error which is calculated for the entire distribution, we call it as error suffix capital D of H, is the error of the sample itself, that is error suffix S of H. This will indicate that if you have got a samples and if you don't have the sample which is distributed, then whatever you have got the samples and whatever you have the errors for that samples, that itself will indicate the error for the entire distribution. With approximately 95% probability, the true error, that is error of the distribution of H, lies in the interval error of the sample of the hypothesis plus or minus 1.96 square root of error of the sample into 1 minus errors of the samples divided by the number of samples small n. To see this one, suppose that the data samples S contains n as 40. Earlier we have taken it as 30 and above. Now we will consider it as 40. And that hypothesis H will commit the errors 12 over this 40 samples. In this case, the R is equal to 12 errors in this data. That is, number of errors present on 40 examples will be 12. In this case, the sample error is calculated as 12 divided by 40. 12 is the sample error divided by number of samples, that is 40. That gives us 0.30. If you don't have any other information, the best estimate for the true error for the entire distribution is observed sample error 0.30 itself, because we don't have any other option. We need to take the error of the sample itself and consider this one as the error of the entire distribution. However, we do not expect this result to be perfect for the true error. If we were to collect a second sample, suppose that, then we call it as S dash, which is containing 40 new randomly drawn examples or samples. We might expect the sample error, that is error suffix S dash now, to vary slightly little bit from the sample error S. What we mean is, earlier we got the error for this sample and we have taken that itself as the error of the entire distribution. Suppose that for that sample lot we have taken another samples and we call it as S dash, and we calculated the error. Earlier we have got 0.30. Now that we expect a small variation of this value, that is 0.30, we expect a difference due to the random differences in the makeup of S and S dash, because S is taken as different samples. Again, S dash is taken as different samples which are taken randomly. In fact, we repeated this experiment again and again, each time drawing a new sample S or S dash or S double dash and all for the samples, 40 samples. We would find that for approximately 95% of these experiments, and the calculated interval would contain the true error, means we are calculating the errors again and again. We are finding out the difference between these errors. Ultimately, we will get the true error. For this reason, we call this interval the 95% confidence interval estimate for the error of the entire distribution for the hypothesis. In the current examples, where the error is 12 and number of samples is 40, the 95% confidence interval is according to the expression which we have seen earlier. We will substitute the values, that is 0.30 plus or minus 1.96 into 0.07, that turns out to be 0.30 plus or minus 0.14. In the expression, you can see the value 1.96. This is the constant Zn. This is used to get the confidence level. If we want 95% confidence, then we need to take the constant Zn as 1.96. That is, for the 95% confidence interval, it can be generalized to any desired confidence level. The constant is used in case we desire 95% confidence interval. A different constant Zn is used to calculate n% confidence interval. For example, if we want 99% confidence, then we need to take the constant value as 2.58. General expression for approximating n% confidence interval for calculating entire distribution error, that is error suffix d of h, is error of the sample plus or minus Zn, means you need to substitute the constant value here, square root of error of the sample for the hypothesis into 1 minus error of the sample of the hypothesis whole divided by n. Here Zn is chosen depending on the desired confidence level using the values Zn which we have shown in the table. As we could calculate the 95% confidence interval for the error for the entire distribution to be 0.30 plus or minus 1.96 into 0.07. Here we have taken the error as 12 and number of samples as 40. We can calculate the 68% confidence interval also by substituting the constant value as 1.0. Note that it makes intuitive sense that 68% confidence interval is smaller than 95% confidence interval, because we have reduced the probability with which we demand the error of the entire distribution fall into the interval. The equation which is we have written in 5.1 will describe how to calculate the confidence intervals for estimation of the error for the entire distribution. This will apply only for the discrete valued hypothesis, means hypothesis values are countable, they are fixed in number or they are in a range or something like that. That is, it assumes the samples S is drawn at random using the same distribution from which the future data will be drawn. It assumes that the data is independent of the hypothesis being tested, means training and testing data are separate enough. We should also note that the expression which is provided is only an approximate confidence interval. It is not guaranteed, it is approximate. though the approximation is quite good when the sample contains at least 30 examples and above. The error of the sample is not too close to either 0 or 1. More accurate rule of thumb is that the equation works well when the number of errors of the samples into 1 minus number of errors of the sample is greater than or equal to 5. Means we need to calculate the value n into the sample errors into 1 minus sample error, and if that value turns out to be greater than or equal to 5, then the equation and the approximation which we have considered is good. Basics of sampling theory. Here we will see the notations from the statistics and sampling theory. Some of the notations are probability distributions, expected value, variance, binomial distributions, normal distributions, one-sided intervals, two-sided intervals, etc. It is very important to understand these concepts so that we can evaluate the hypothesis and evaluate the learning algorithms. At the end, we need to know the hypothesis which we have calculated is good, medium or bad. Similarly, we need to come to a conclusion for the learning algorithms. We should able to compare different learning algorithms and calculate the hypothesis and evaluate the hypothesis in terms of errors. It is important that the some notations provided in these sections are to be understood from the machine learning point of view, such as overfitting, relationship between successful generalization and the number of training examples considered, etc. Some of the key concepts considered are summarized. Random variable. A random variable can be viewed as the name of an experiment with a probabilistic outcome. Its value is the outcome of the experiment. Probability distribution. Probability distribution for a random variable y specifies the probability, that is PR of y, that y will take the value yi for each possible value yi. Expected value or mean. The mean of a random variable y is calculated as E of y is equal to summation of the product of yi into PR. The symbol mu y is commonly used to represent the expected value or mean value. The variance of a random variable, this is calculated as E into capital Y minus mu y the whole square. Variance characterizes the width or dispersion of the distribution about its mean, means from the mean how much is the value deviated. Standard deviation. Standard deviation of y is square root of variance of y, which we have calculated earlier. The symbol sigma y is often used to represent the standard deviation of y. Binomial distribution. This will give the probability of observing R heads in series of n independent coin tosses. If the probability of the heads in a single toss is P. The normal distribution is a bell-shaped probability distribution that covers many natural phenomena. Central limit theorem. It is the theorem stating that the sum of the large number of independent, identically distributed random variables approximately follow a normal distribution. Estimator. An estimator is a random variable y which is used to estimate some parameter p of an underlying population. Estimation bias of y as an estimator for p is the quantity E of y minus p. An unbiased estimator is one for which the bias is 0, means the values won't deviate. A n% confidence interval estimate for parameter p is an interval that includes p with probability n percentage. Do remember that in the world of statistics, usually we will take the sample set. This sample set will represent the population set. It is very hard or it is very tedious to get the entire population set. Hence, we will get the sample set and we will do the experiment on this sample set itself. It is a subset which is created from the population set. Process of sampling. The following steps: identifying the population set, that is the entire set, determination of the size of our sample set, providing a medium for the basis of selection of samples from the population medium, picking out samples from the medium using one of many sampling techniques like simple, random, systematic or stratified sampling, checking whether the formed sample set contains elements actually matches the different attributes of population set without large variations in between. Checking for the errors or inaccurate estimations in the formed sample set that may or may not have occurred. The set which we get after performing the above steps actually contributes to the sample set. In general or in short, we cannot imagine the entire training sample space, what we call it as a population set. It may be very difficult. Suppose that if we take the example of face recognition, then collecting the face images from the entire world from different populations is very difficult. What we do is we will get sample set. We will collect maybe few of the face images, then we consider that itself as our data set, that we call it as sample set. Population is the whole set of variables, elements, entities which are considered for a statistical study. It contains all the information, all the samples. It is also known as the universal set from where actual inferences are drawn. Population set consists of all the attributes of individuals or elements under consideration. But doing estimations on a population is very exhausting resources as well as it is very time consuming process. Example, consider a mean weight of all men on the earth. To get this one, we need to get the samples from all the men on the earth. This may not be possible at all. this is considered a hypothetical population because it includes all men that have ever lived on the earth, which includes people who will exist in the future and also people who have lived earlier before us. But there comes an anomaly while doing such measurement, which is not all men in the population tray are observable. Performing statistics on population sample would require a great deal of time as well as resources, which will be exhaustive and inefficient. What is performed instead of is to take a subset from the available population and perform statistics on them and interpolate inferences about the entire populations. Means we will compare this sample itself as the entire sample and we will infer the results. Taking out a subset makes the task easier as the time required to scrutinize the subset is lesser than the time required to scrutinize the whole set of population. Statistic is performed on the sample set to draw the conclusions about the entire population tray. Calculations are considered to be conclusion of the population set because it doesn't measure with the actual data of the population set and it is not free from errors. Error estimation and estimating binomial proportions. How does the deviation between the sample error and true error depend on the size of the data sample? What role is provided by the size of the data on, that is on sample error? This is the problem of estimating the proportion of a population, that we call it as a sample, that exhibits some property given the observed proportion over some random sample of the population. In our case, the property of interest is that H misclassifies the example, that is, hypothesis will misclassify the examples. The key to answer to this question is to note that when we estimate the sample error, we are performing an experiment with a random outcome, that is, we are picking the samples randomly and the outcome is also random. We first collect the random samples S from the entire samples and we call it as N, which we have taken independently randomly from the distribution D, and then we will measure the error. The sample error is denoted as error S of H. If we repeat the experiment many times and each time drawing different random samples, that is SI of size N, we would expect to observe different values of the errors, that is error S of H, error of the sample, depending on the random differences in the makeup of the various SI. We say in such cases that error S1 is the outcome of ith such experiment. So it is each time we are taking it as a random variable. In general, one can think of random variable as the name of an experiment with a random outcome, because every time we are taking samples randomly. The value of the random variable is observed outcome of the random experiment. Suppose that we were to run k such random experiments measuring the random variables. Random variables, let us take it as error S1, S2, S3, so on up to sk. Imagine that we plotted a histogram displaying the frequency with which we have observed each possible error values. The outcome is shown in the figure. The plot will be like a binomial distribution. On the x-axis we have got number of samples, and on y-axis we have got probability of the error. If you see, the error will gradually increase, then it will decrease. It will show a binomial distribution. In our case, we have taken n is equal to 40, that is number of samples is 40, and probability we have taken as 30%, 0.3. Binomial distribution will give the probability of observing r heads in a sample of n independent coin tosses, when the probability of heads on a single coin toss is p. It is defined by the probability function. Probability of the error is equal to n factorial divided by r factorial multiplied by n minus r factorial into error of the entire distribution d to the power r into 1 minus error of the entire distribution raised to n minus r. If the random variable x follows a binomial distribution which we have seen earlier, the probability, that is PR of x is equal to r, that x will take on the value r, is given by the p of r, that is probability of r, probability of error. The expected or mean value is given by E of x is equal to n into p. Variance is given by variance of x is equal to np into 1 minus p. And the standard deviation is given by square root of np into 1 minus p. For large values of the binomial distribution closely approximated by a normal distribution with the same mean and variance, most statisticians recommend using the normal approximation only when np into 1 minus p, that is standard deviation, is greater than equal to 5.